For 2025, the Subaru Outback has 9 different trims to choose from. But one trim that gets overlooked, receives no attention and no press, is the base. Maybe for a good reason, right? Because for a vehicle at $30,000, it's not going to be the most upscale or plush experience. I mean, let's just be honest here. What Subaru is doing with the premium trim and above for all their models, those vehicles make a lot of sense. Whereas the base, maybe not so much. If you're somebody who is on a stricter budget at around $30,000 and all you're looking for is capability, versatility, and practicality, then maybe the base trim is going to speak to you in more ways than one. And that's why I am here. We're going to take a good long look at the 2025 Subaru Outback Base, much like we saw last week with the Forester Base. See what this model is offering and why, at just over $30,000, this could be a great choice if you are looking for a family-friendly vehicle heading into 2025. Now, before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Subaru of Wakefield in Wakefield, Massachusetts for letting me come down here to check out the Subaru Outback Base. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Subaru inventory. So as usual, let's begin with pricing. For 2025 with the base trim, you're looking at a starting cost of just below $29,000. Now, for about $3,000 more, you could go with the premium, which we have talked about at great lengths on this channel in recent months. The premium gives you quite a bit, especially with optional package 13 and 15. Now, with those two packages though, now you're spending around $35,000. So if you want to extend your dollar just a bit more, go in that direction. But for a lot of you who are strict with your budget, at $30,000, you're still receiving quite a bit here. And at least aesthetically, it doesn't look like a cheap or base model at all, aside from one cosmetic element that we'll talk about once we check out the side profile. But up front, you are going to receive steering responsive LED headlights and LED fog lights. Now, for the Forester Base, Crosstrek Base, and the Ascent Base, you don't get LED fog lights. This is pretty cool. I have a feeling, though, that with the Outback, this vehicle is designed for off-road excursions. It's designed for people who are going to be taking on the elements, so that does make sense. But even for the grille itself, there's nothing that tells me that this is a base model at all. You're still going to have the gloss gray accent that runs through the grille, and it does look rather classy and upscale. Again, for a vehicle at $30,000, this is quite impressive. Obviously, like every other trim though, you're all going to have the aggressive cladding that makes its way into the headlight housings, and that will make its way along the side profile for the wheel wells, and then of course for the rear fascia as well. But this vehicle does look quite stunning even in this form at 30 grand. Then making your way over to the side profile, you will have 17-inch alloy wheels, the same wheel design that is found on the premium. And with this tire size, it will help out with road noise and on-road comfort. This will be the optimal choice if you are looking at buying an Outback this year. Now, the main difference between the base and the premium is the side mirror caps, because you are going to have more of this matte black look, and you're not going to receive turn signal indicators or blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert that is optional on the premium. So you'll have to spend a little extra for those amenities. But one thing I do like about the Outback, and we saw this with the Forester as well, is the raised roof rails. It makes this crossover look very capable, but also if you are somebody who does go on those weekend road trips, maybe you're going skiing and snowboarding during the winter, you'll be able to store everything on the top of your Outback. Then taking a look at the rear fascia, nothing different here at all compared to other trims in the lineup, unless you are cross-shopping this with a Wilderness or Onyx Edition, which you probably wouldn't because of the price gap. And with the Wilderness, you have more aggressive cladding. However, with this model, you're not going to receive LED taillights that won't match what you have up front. That isn't too much of a surprise or disappointment because we see that across all models in the Subaru lineup. I would like to see that be integrated in future model years though. Then for the lower portion of the rear bumper, you will have aggressive cladding. That will be useful when you do go off-road or take on winter road conditions. Now from certain angles, you will not notice the exhaust outlet. I understand why Subaru did that. They want to keep this rear end looking nice and clean, but also a bit more upscale as well. Taking a peek under the hood for the 2025 Subaru Outback Base, you are going to receive a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated boxer 4-cylinder engine, producing 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. As always, it is paired with a CVT, and by going with a Subaru product, you will receive super symmetrical all-wheel drive, and that comes standard. So this vehicle is going to be very practical and capable for weekday commutes and longer road trips. Now, I know some of you will be pointing out and saying, oh, but I want the 2.4. Keep in mind, with the turbo engine, you'll be spending at least $7,000 to $8,000 more than what we have here with the base. So that is going to be quite the increase in cost. Now, one thing I do like about the Outback Base, though, is that it is pretty economical. You're going to receive right around 26 miles per gallon in the city and 32 miles per gallon on the highway. So there's a lot of elements to this model that makes it a great choice. Yes, it's capable. Yes, it's versatile, but also efficient and economical. Before checking out the interior for the base, you aren't going to receive keyless access with a push button start. If you do want that, you'll have to go with the premium trim and an optional package, whether it's package 13 or 15. And this is what we saw with the Forester base. Now, I know some of you do like turning on your vehicle the old-fashioned way, and with this key fob, you can lock and unlock from far away. So it has the bare necessities here. Hopping inside the Subaru Outback Base for 2025, you are going to receive manually adjustable cloth seats for both the driver and passenger. If you want heated front seats and dual zone climate control, you will have to go with the premium trim. With those two features alone, that might push you in that direction. However, with the base, you don't get the 11.6-inch touchscreen. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to have all that tech inside your vehicle, the base might be very appealing to you. And of course, the pricing really can't be beat for a vehicle in this market. But if you do want to hold firm with the base trim, you're not sacrificing interior comfort. I have to say, these seats don't feel much different than what's found in the premium. They provide a lot of support and bolstering, so I think on longer drives and on weekday commutes, you will not be complaining about back pain at all, which is really all you could ask for. For a lot of vehicles in this market, the cloth upholstery can be quite firm and stiff, and it leaves a lot more to be desired. But thankfully, Subaru does prioritize the comfort of their vehicle, so I think you're going to find yourself right at home in the Outback. Now, in front of you will be the same layout that we see across all trims for 2025. So analog gauges with a small information display in the center. By using the toggles on the left side of the steering wheel, you can scroll through a variety of information such as your remaining fuel range, average fuel economy, digital speedometer, outside temperature, time, and then more importantly, your tire pressure monitoring system. Also found on the steering wheel will be the controls for your lane centering and your adaptive cruise control settings. So you do receive eyesight driver assist technology here that is standard across all trims for 2025, and that is crucial for a vehicle that might be a family vehicle on a daily basis. Also on the steering wheel, you will find paddle shifters to rotate the gears yourself. I do think, though, that with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine, you won't be doing that, but if you are somebody who wants to have a bit more of an exhilarating driving experience and feel more connected to your Outback, you can then rotate the gears yourself. Then taking a look at the infotainment system, you will have dual touchscreens here, which I personally think looks archaic, and I understand why it's only offered here for the base trim and not the premium trim and above. We see this with the Subaru Forester base as well. Now, I think a lot of you will enjoy the fact you will have more physical buttons and dials for your volume and tuning. Then beneath the main head unit will be quick access buttons for your radio, media, home button, phone, and apps. And then for the second half of this head unit will be the buttons for your front and rear defrosters and single zone climate control. Now, the top screen does function like the older Starlink user interfaces from prior model years. And from here, all your widgets will be displayed. So you can scroll through vehicle settings and general settings. Also, of course, sound, phone, and radio. So very straightforward stuff here. And one thing I'm a bit surprised to see in this model is valet mode. So if you are going to a fancy hotel or restaurant and you don't want the valet to abuse your Outback, you can put in a PIN code, and that way this vehicle is going to be in a safer setting. Also from here, you can add new shortcuts, and you can just really customize this layout to your liking. Then for the bottom screen, this is home to a lot of your vehicle settings and controls, such as X mode. That is huge. X mode is not offered in the base trim for the Forester, and I still don't know why that is, because I think for a vehicle with the Subaru badge, with super symmetrical all-wheel drive coming standard, you want to have that. Maybe with the Outback being priced very similarly, Subaru wants to give this vehicle a bit more value, and if you are somebody that does take on winter road conditions, you might want to go with that Outback. You're going to notice your vehicle control tab. So from here, you can turn on or off your vehicle dynamics control, which is basically traction control. Then your cruise control acceleration speed, auto vehicle hold, and then the steering responsive LED headlights. I would leave those on for better visibility late at night. Then you have your driving assistance feature for pre-collision braking. You can turn that on or off. I would leave that on for added assurance and peace of mind. Also from here, you can turn on or off your lane departure warning and customize the warning systems here. So you can just have it buzz at you or actually have it scream and shout like most Subaru safety systems do, I would kind of turn this off just because it's not really useful at all, just in my opinion. And lastly will be the More Settings tab for your warning volume. You can lower that to a reasonable decibel, then units of measurement, and then the auto start stop button. And then you'll find another icon for that, so a bit repetitive. At the bottom of the screen will be the controls for your climate control, such as AC, fan speed, fan direction, and then of course you can adjust the climate control from there. Then beneath that will be a USB-A outlet and an auxiliary input with a nice cubby for a smartphone. Next to that will be your electronic parking brake. Then you're going to have your gear selector here, which is not flanked by gloss black trim, which I know a lot of you are going to appreciate. So this will be easier to clean and easier to maintain on a daily basis. Next to that will be your 2 cup holders here, which are actually quite deep, so you can store some bigger drinks here. Then for the standard storage compartment, there's plenty of room for smaller items, such as a couple smartphones and other tech gadgets. And then rounding out the front seating area, you will not receive a power moonroof. You will have to go with the premium for that. However, I'm a bit surprised that this model that we have today is equipped with the auto-dimming rearview mirror. That is a game changer late at night. I have one equipped on my Subaru WRX. I think it definitely helps out, so when someone is behind you with their high beams, they're not blinding you with those lights. Then for passengers in the second row, they're greeted by 39.5 inches of legroom, which is about 2.5 inches more than the Subaru Forester. Now, in that prior video that I made with the Forester base, I still feel that that model is more family friendly, mostly because for the second row, the center hump is very aggressive and somewhat wide. That will take away from legroom and possibly shoulder room as well. But in regards to the legroom and headroom, it's more than adequate for a vehicle in this market. Even though the Outback is basically a lifted station wagon, I do think taller passengers can sit back here and they won't be hitting their head on the headliner. Also, there's plenty of shoulder room as well back here. However, by going with the premium, you are going to be missing out on some amenities and creature comforts. One being no heated outboard seats, but also for the center portion of the second row, there's no center mounted air vents, no USB-A or USB-C input. You are going to be receiving some of that on higher trims. And if you do want to prioritize the second row passengers, you might want to go with the premium at the very least. But in regards to comfort though, these seats are still rather plush and supportive. Now they're not sport seats, so you will be swinging around a bit when you are on a winding back road. But I have to say though, they are very comfortable. I can sit back, relax, and enjoy the driving experience. And that's really all you could ask for a vehicle in this market and around $31,000. However, and if you are longtime subscribers to the channel, you know that I love this. Even with the base, you are going to receive a center armrest with 2 cup holders. So Subaru didn't disappoint me or let me down in that regard. Then making our way around to the back one more time to take a look at the rear cargo area. You are not going to receive a power liftgate with the base, but it is optional with the premium. And inside, behind the second row seats, you're looking at right around 32.5 cubic feet of room, which will be on par with other vehicles in this market, and it's a bit better than what you're going to find with the Forester. Although with the Forester and its higher roofline, you can stack on larger and taller items. So keep all of that in mind. Now, there are a few things I do like about the Outback. One being that with its longer dimensions, you can store some skis, maybe snowboards if you are going away during the winter. Also, another thing too is that you will have some cubbies for some smaller items on both sides of this rear cargo area, maybe for a couple water bottles, car detail equipment, or maybe even a first aid kit. And also found beneath the floor mat will be a spare tire. So if you encounter a flat on your road trips or travels, you can fix that and be back on the road. Also on both sides of the rear cargo area, which is great to see on the base trim, is that you will have quick release levers that will conveniently lower the second row of seats. And when those second row seats are folded, you're looking at right on 75.5 cubic feet of room. So this vehicle is practical overall, and it's going to be a great choice for you and your family. So all in all, with the Subaru Outback Base for 2025, is this a great value? Is it a great option if you are somebody on a stricter budget? One thing I will say, that at $30,000, you're getting a vehicle that gives you the class-leading ground clearance, year-round capability and versatility, super symmetrical all-wheel drive, which comes standard, and also X mode. You do not receive X mode with the Forester base that we found out last week. So if you're looking for a vehicle that can get you through some harsh winters, you don't want to spend $35,000, then the base should appeal to you. Obviously, if you want some creature comforts and amenities, you're going to have to go with the premium, with the dual zone climate control, heated front seats, maybe even a power moonroof and power liftgate if you throw in optional packages. But for the base, what you have here is the bare necessities. And I have to say though, even for a vehicle that is the entry point to the Outback lineup, these seats are comfortable. The ride quality isn't too bad. Obviously, for the interior, there's hard touch plastic, so not as refined or as upscale, but that's what you would expect for a vehicle in this price range and market. If you are somebody who does have lavish tastes, I would definitely steer you towards the premium, because that to me is the best trim in the Subaru lineup for any model for what Subaru's offering right now for 2025. That's just my take. I think you're getting quite a bit there, especially with the optional packages. In regards to the powertrain though, with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, you have a good amount of performance here. Obviously, it's not going to be a barnstormer. You don't have the 2.4 liter turbo, but keep in mind, with the turbo, you're spending close to 40 grand. So to save $10,000 in this market, you don't have to go all out for a vehicle that is going to be responsive and enjoyable to drive. That is going to make a huge difference for a lot of you in this segment. Also, nothing too, with the CVT, it does mimic the gear shifts quite nicely. Obviously, I do think it pairs up better with the 2.4, but you're not going to be dealing with a lot of droning, so it will mimic gear shifts quite well. And as I talked about before, you do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel, so you can at least roll through the gears yourself and have some fun. As a daily driver and family hauler, even in this form, it's giving you everything you could possibly want and desire. And I think a lot of you who don't want so much tech in your vehicle, you don't want to have that override your experience, you don't have to worry about that with the base. To have the dual touchscreen setup here, which I personally don't like, but also the analog gauges, I think some of you are definitely going to appreciate that, especially in the mid-2020s. After spending some time with the base today, I do think it is worth considering if you are somebody in this market at around $30,000 to $35,000. In the auto industry and from journalists, they do overlook this trim. And I understand why. I mean, with the premium, I think you're getting a lot of value there, especially with optional package 13 and 15. We talked about that in prior videos. But if you are somebody that's maybe cross-shopping this with a Forester base, I will say lean towards the Forester, because what Subaru has done with the platform and chassis, adding some rigidity, definitely makes a huge difference. And of course, they retuned the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, so it performs better than this engine under the hood of the Outback. But I think though, from a capability standpoint, from a practicality standpoint, the Outback might win at the end of the day. But either way, I don't think you can lose at around $30,000 from Subaru. And if you are somebody who is more of a simpleton, you don't need everything, you don't need every option available for your vehicle and have that equipped on your model, then I do think the base is going to make you more than happy, especially as a daily driver and commuter vehicle. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review for the 2025 Subaru Outback Base. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.